The past few days have been an absolute treat for Final Fantasy fans, especially fans of a 7 entry, as we got a whole stream surrounding the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy 7 coming out. With that came along the announcement of the much anticipated second part of the remake. There's been a lot of information that have come out just from the teaser, so here's everything we know about the upcoming Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Starting off in the trailer, we hear multiple characters speaking, that being Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa. Beginning with Aerith, she talks about how everything that was done is set in stone, but the future can still be changed, even if it was already written to go down a certain path. Without spoiling anything, this could most likely be a reference to the events that happened to Aerith later in the original story. But then again, it's pretty vague, so it could also be the meteor, as it is the shot that it cuts to just as she finishes speaking. There was also some footage that showed Cloud and Sephiroth walking through the Nibelheim mountainside, which is a flashback from the days when Cloud was still a part of Shinra. We get to see some of the spiky mountain structure, and perhaps that footage is them going to the Mako reactor, but from the little teaser that we got, it was kind of hard to tell exactly what they were doing. There are some structures and power lines around the area, so it could be the outskirts of Nibelheim or even Nibelheim itself. This could be part of some side quests, or it is just along the way to the Mako planet itself. Towards the end of the reveal though, that's where I found some of the most interesting dialogue came from Tifa, where she refers to Cloud thinking that she was dead and she was some kind of imposter or replacement. I found this pretty interesting, as I'm pretty sure this isn't something that was covered or at least fully explored in the original, which would be a cool conflict to expand upon, because the story segment that this game should take in, when if you compare it to the original, is basically where our heroes are at their lowest. So I wonder if that line from Tifa will have a major significance. A lot of these things get me to believe that all these events are basically leading up to the fact that this is a sort of retelling of the story, a sort of reimagined way of looking at Final Fantasy VII. We get a little bit of that with the Whispers or the so-called Arbiters of Fate in the remake. However, I believe this title is where we will see some significant changes within the world of FF7. With some closing shots of Zack walking up to the walls of Midgar holding Cloud, we may even already be seeing a completely different beginning to the story, as by that point that shouldn't be happening, but we'll just have to see once the game comes out. To end the stream, they confirmed that the title of the game is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This title is, as of right now, a PS5 exclusive with no last gen version mentioned, making it a full next gen title running on Unreal Engine 5. With the release of the Epic Game Store version and now recently the Steam version, we can assume that a similar thing might happen, where after the exclusivity on the PS5 ends, Square Enix will port the game over to PC. For Xbox, it is still unknown at this current time for the remake and the new title, but we'll just have to see. It's going to be 3 titles that complete the trilogy. It's going to come out next winter, which can be between late December and late March, most likely being released early 2024. Releasing it in late 2023 might clash with the release of Final Fantasy XVI, so I think Square Enix might just push it later, just slightly, so Final Fantasy XVI has enough time to be enjoyed fully by everyone. Some of the main things that got confirmed in that reveal were actually posted on Twitter after the teaser trailer on the official Final Fantasy Twitter account. They posted some images with some additional information from some of the directors and producer. There are 4 projects currently being developed at the same time, all centered around Final Fantasy VII, the 2 mobile games, Crisis Core Reunion and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It also said here that the title will give old and new players a fresh experience, furthermore hinting that this is going to be a different story. The names of the games have deeper meanings than originally thought, and the 3rd title will be named appropriately based on where this journey is heading. They mentioned that they have found a new development structure that speeds up the development time. Hopefully this means that we won't have issues like they've had in the past with titles like Final Fantasy 15 or even the first Final Fantasy remake, as that was announced in 2015 and then later released in 2020, so let's hope Square Enix will do better this time. Work has already started on the 3rd game. They said that the work is coming in at a really fast pace for a title of this size, and that fans can expect a more gripping and more memorable game than the previous titles. This is a very exciting time to be at Final Fantasy, and with all the great lineup of games coming out, throughout the next year we are sure to be getting a lot more Final Fantasy information for all the different projects that are in development. And my guess that the next batch of FF7 Rebirth news will probably be sometime in early 2023. With that being said, we at least have Crisis Core Remake coming out this winter, and of course Final Fantasy 16 being out next summer. It is plenty enough to keep us going. Until next time, see you in the next video. Bye.